Hello everyone, I am Apurva Hitesh Kapadia, student at Manipal Institute of Technology. Today I will be discussing water and water pollution from the chapter Natural Resources from class 9th NCERT Science textbook.
Water, a wonderful liquid. We know that water occupies a very large area of the Earth's surface and is also found underground. Water also exists in the form of water vapor in the atmosphere. Most of the water on Earth's surface is in seas and oceans and is saline, meaning salty in nature. Fresh water constitutes for only 2% of the water available on the Earth's surface, which is found in the ice caps at the two poles and on the snow-covered mountains. Underground water and the water in rivers, lakes and ponds is also fresh. The availability of fresh water varies from place to place. Some places may get good rainfall and some places may not get rainfall at all. Mostly, in every summer, many people have to face the shortage of water in rural areas, particularly where the water systems have not been installed. These people are forced to spend considerable amounts of time in fetching water from far away sources. Why is water necessary? We know that all the cellular processes take place in water medium. It forms the saliva, which is helpful for digestion. It also keeps muscular membranes moist. It allows body cells to grow, reproduce, and survive. It flushes the body waste, mainly in urine. It also lubricates the joints. It is needed by brain to manufacture hormones and neurotransmitters. It regulates the body temperature through sweating and respiration. It also acts as a shock absorber for the brain and spinal cord. It also converts the food to components needed for survival, which is known as digestion. It also helps in oxygen delivery over the body. All the reactions that take place within our body and within the cells occur between substances that are dissolved in water. Substances are also transported from one part of the body to another part in dissolved form. Hence, organisms need to maintain the level of water within their bodies in order to stay alive. Terrestrial life forms require fresh water because their bodies cannot tolerate or get rid of high amounts of dissolved salts in saline water. Thus, water sources need to be easily accessible for animals and plants to survive on land. For example, consider algae in the picture given. The whole algae performs photosynthesis, absorbs water, CO2 and other minerals from the water. The availability of water decides not only the number of individuals of each species that are able to survive in a particular area, but it also decides the diversity of the life there. Obviously, the availability of the water is not only the factor that decides the sustainability of life in that region. There are other factors like environmental, social, economical, viability that also decide the sustainability of life in the region. Other factors like temperature and nature of the soil also matter. Water pollution. Water dissolves the fertilizers and pesticides that are used on the farms. Hence, some percentage of these substances are washed into the water bodies. Sewage from our towns and cities and the waste from factories are also dumped into rivers and lakes. This may lead to the change in temperature of the river or the lakes. Specific industries also use water for cooling in various operations and later return this hot water to water bodies. Another way in which the temperature of the water in the rivers can be affected is when the water is released from the dams. The water inside the deep reservoirs would be colder than the water at the surface, which gets heated by the sun. When the water is released, it may change the temperature of the river and hence it may affect the aquatic life. All this can affect the life forms that are found in these water bodies in various ways. It may promote the growth of some life forms and harm other life forms. This affects the balance between various organisms which had been established in that system. Let us look at some of the ways in which we can define water pollution. Water pollution can be defined as the addition of undesirable substances to the water bodies. These substances could be pesticides or insecticides used in farming or they could be the poisonous substances like mercury salts which are used by paper industries. These could also be disease causing organisms like bacteria which causes cholera. Water pollution can also be described as the removal of desirable substances from water bodies. Dissolved oxygen is used by animals and plants that live in water. Any change that reduces the amount of this dissolved oxygen would adversely affect these aquatic organisms. Other nutrients could also be depleted from the water bodies. Water pollution can also be described by a change in temperature. Aquatic organisms are used to a certain range of temperature in the water body where they live, and a sudden change in this temperature would be dangerous for them or affect their breeding. The eggs and larvae of various animals are sensitive to these temperature changes. Have you ever thought? Question 1. Why is most of the water on Earth's surface saline? Question 2. What will happen if the level of water in a body decreases? Question 3. What would happen to aquatic life if the temperature of the water is changed? Here are some of the questions. Question 1. What are the sources of fresh water? Question 2. Explain the importance of water for living organisms. Question 3. What are the factors that decide the diversity of life? Question 4. List any 5 human activities that are responsible for water pollution. Question 5. How can the temperature of water be affected?